Today.
AFA Today.
On AFR Talk.
AFR Talk. Broadcast is AFA Today. We're glad you're with us. Kevin McCulley, so glad to have you here each weekday. And I wasn't intending to make a whole big topic out of this, but I did have a interaction with my child's educational experience today that was kind of interesting, and I was proud of him. I was cheering for him. I was saying, "Hey, go James!" And he was singing the songs, and he was enjoying himself. And when everybody clapped and laughed, he clapped and laughed. It was awesome. It was truly a fun time. I just think that we are a little overdoing it. Actually, some of I was told this by the lovely bride after we were all done. Some of the preschools, this isn't even actual required academic accomplishment, but some of the preschools that are in the area where we live actually have the kids order cap and gowns. And I'm like, well, why? So anyway, it was fun. But because of that, I'm not in my normal studio. I'm actually in the Baldwin McCulley studios that we use on Saturday nights, and I'm glad to be with you, and thanks to everybody for flexing with me for allowing me to do it. Let's go back to the phones because Natalie is calling from Louisiana, and she wanted to weigh in on the issue of child entitlement. Hi, Natalie. Welcome.
Hi. Thanks for taking my call.
Sure thing.
I just wanted to comment that as an educator, I have observed an overwhelming amount of positive reinforcement for children's behaviors and children's actions, and that completely eliminates any intrinsic motivation that they may develop throughout their adolescence. They make one A+ on a paper and they are supposed to go to a cookie party. That eliminates the intrinsic motivation that a child may have to say, I'm going to work hard and get an A+ just because I want to be proud of myself. So that continued overwhelming positive reinforcement with cookie parties and Tiger Bucks, free coupons for homework passes, that's what gives them this mindset that anything they accomplish should have a big reward at the end. It's eliminated that they should just feel proud of themselves for doing well in their education.
Isn't that interesting? Man, that is. And you know what that does is it sets up teachers further down that child's academic path for a complete nightmare.
Right. So by the time they get to the secondary level, and I've taught the older kids, the 11th and 12th grade kids too, if they come from an affluent family or they've been used to getting good grades all their life, that's what they expect. They don't want to earn it, they want to expect it. And so you have to regroup with children and reassess and get them to reassess, what is this system going on, and really find intrinsic motivation to accomplish something to themselves. So don't want to drag it on with you. I just wanted to give in my opinion as an educator that I do witness what you were saying.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. It is some validation, and thanks for the call. 888-589-8840, 888-589-8840. So, didn't think that would actually turn into something, but I'm glad that she weighed in because that's what we're here for. A couple of other things that I was following today. We've sent John Kerry to Iraq to negotiate the end of the conflict there. I was thinking to myself, man, Mr. Obama really wants to see this thing extended. Because I don't know of a single thing that John Kerry's negotiated that's ever come to a conclusion. After we sent him to the Ukraine, they took Crimea and eastern Ukraine. It just gets worse like that. I don't know really what the thinking is there, but maybe it's just to keep him out of the problems here. The judge that sentenced Saddam Hussein to death was captured and executed by Al Qaeda this weekend. Now, here's the interesting thing about this: the judge that executed Saddam Hussein should have been a friend to the Al Qaeda types that are coming in here, and this is where John Kerry's up against a wall that he doesn't understand. The friend of the enemy of my enemy is my friend. Is that how it works in some of these cases? Well, if you think about from the simple standpoint of that perspective, then even if this judge was someone other than a Sunni Muslim, and it's likely that he was a Sunni Muslim, and he put to death the Shiites leader, Saddam Hussein. It's interesting that that they did that, because the friend of the enemy of my enemy is my friend, and so they killed the guy that Saddam was in opposition to. The judge killed the Shiite. He should have been a hero to the Sunnis that are coming in there. But it's kind of not working out that way. And it's interesting to see just how far this is going to spread. There's several key checkpoints going into Syria now that are just overrun by the Al-Qaeda, ISIS troops. And when they are, then it's basically there's no border there. What in essence you have is a borderless section between Iraq and Syria, where the Al-Qaeda guys are in control, and that's growing kind of like this region. Now this region's all connected with no real security stopping it from developing, even on the borders. And it is interesting that this weekend Syria got into a little scuffle on the Israeli border, and the Israelis shot back. They hit 9 targets inside of Syria over the weekend, because the Syrians had ended up killing a teenage Israeli boy. And some people say, oh, well, that's terrible overreaction by the Israelis. It was just one life. They ended up taking 10 or 12 lives of their own. You know what? I kind of think you have to deal with these people in the language that they understand. And you know what they don't understand? They don't understand John Kerry talking to Maliki about, negotiations. These people are not people that can be negotiated with. These people that have taken north and western Iraq, that have taken the Syrian border, that are operating in Syria without any police. They're operating in northern Iraq without any policing of them. They're robbing banks. They're raping women. They're killing children. There are mass graves that have been, instituted because of the people that they have killed. These folks, they're not going to understand negotiation. And it's sad to see that we are delusional enough to think that we have that we're so smart, that President Obama or John Kerry is so smart that we have some sort of magic words that can just all of a sudden make this go away. At the end of the day, we are looking at a very bad scenario being furthered by terrorists that want to kill people who they don't like. And that's the way they're taking their territory, and that's the way they're going to run their territory as they then train killers and terrorists to come attack the West. It's just the way it works, friends. I don't know. I don't understand the mystery here. I don't understand why the president is confused about this, thinking he's going to be able to get this all under control. Why? Because he's Barack Obama? Just because he is who he is? People are going to say, oh, well, if you're Barack Obama, then I must do what you say. Didn't know you were Barack Obama before, but now that I do, trust me, I'll put an end to this. Yeah, that's not really the way it works. Never has been, and I don't think it's going to be. There is an interesting story that someone sent my way from this weekend as well. And I wanted to get your take on this, and we can take your calls at 888-589-8840. Let me just see if I can locate it briefly. But it was sent to me this morning. Oh, it's not in that folder. Okay, let me try this one here. Yeah, maybe it's that one. But yeah, there was there's a new worship place that has been developed, and I'm trying to see, where is this located at? Well, the BBC was the one reporting on it, but I don't think it's in London. Let's see. Oh, it's in Berlin. Yeah, that's where it is. Okay, so here's the idea. They've built this. They want to build this multi-purpose building, and this is in the BBC magazine today. They want to make this multi-purpose building. Here's the purposes of it. Muslim, Jews, and Christians would all use portions of the facility. So you'd have Muslims in like one section of it, and then you'd have Jews in another section of it, and there would be places where Christians would use the third portion of it. And that's kind of all on the outer edge of this building. And then inside the first floor, the place that's called the House of One would exist. In fact, they held an architectural competition to see how the building should be laid out, et cetera, et cetera. That's all moving forward. But the idea is that you can use the separate areas where you are to practice your faith. And then when the different faiths need to have a discussion, one with the other, I don't know what about, but when they needed to have those discussions, they could then go into the House of One and have dialogue from a different, from a safe perspective, because you're not on any one of your turf. You're in this neutral place where the House of One all comes together. Now, there's this belief that, here's what one of the people said. Each of the singular spaces designed according to the religious needs, the particularities of the faith. There are, for instance, 2 levels in the mosque and the synagogue, but there's only 1 level in the church. There will be an organ in the church. There are places to wash feet in the mosque. The architects researched designs for the 3 types of worshiping places and found more similarities than they expected. And evidently they have Muslims, rabbis, and Christians that are interested in this. They say that actually it was a Christian pastor's idea. Pastor Gregor Hoberg, a Protestant parish priest, says this will be built where the first church in Berlin was built, dating back to the 12th century. St. Petri's Church was badly damaged at the end of World War II as the Red Army liberated Berlin. What remained was destroyed in the period after the war by the East German authorities. 6 years ago, archaeologists uncovered remains from the graveyard and decided it was something that should be done to resurrect a community and its place of worship. So they're going to build where this historic church was. They're going to put this House of One. And it's going to kind of look like the cross between a prison and the United Nations from the model that I can see that won the competition. Anyway, kind of interesting. 888-589-8840. Let's go to line 3. Haywood has dialed us up from Mississippi. Hello, Haywood. Welcome. Kevin McCulley, glad you're here.
Thank you for taking my call.
Sure thing.
This movement in Iraq, Al-Qaeda offshoot ISIS, they're raping, murdering, and pillaging, killing Christians. They're actually crucifying people, the mass graves. I have a question for you. Once they take Baghdad, do you think they'll point toward Jordan and ultimately to Israel? Or they'll just settle for Iraq? And I'll take your answer out there. Thank you.
Well, I think if anybody's followed the caliphate, I don't think there's anybody that thinks that these guys just want to take that area and hold it. The caliphate and the intifada that have been issued all expressly say the drive of the motivation behind all things Al-Qaeda, whether it's offshoots, the main branch, the one in Yemen, the one in Afghanistan, whoever. And they're all the same, guys. The goal is forced conversion to Sharia law. They want to establish Sharia law in every corner of the globe. And if it means cutting the heads off of people who disagree with them in order to make it happen, they're just fine doing that. But that is what they want to do. 888-589-8840. Let's go to line 4. Rocky is calling from Texas. Hello, Rocky. Welcome. Kevin McCulley, glad to have you with us.
Hello, Kevin. I appreciate you taking my call, Kevin. I've been listening to you almost every day now for about 2 months, and you really speak some serious sense, sir.
Thank you, sir.
I had a couple of questions that I thought I heard on this station that they had actually discovered the weapons of mass destruction that was one of the reasons why we went to Iraq in the first place, other than trying to get Saddam Hussein. But did they actually discover that, and who was it that did discover it?
Well, it's interesting because there are several reports that came in over the weekend, and I'm trying to locate the one that I feel like is probably the most. Well, let me just. Here's one from the American Thinker. The British newspaper The Telegraph reported on June 19th that, in fact, chemical weapons produced at the Al-Muthanna facility, which Al-Qaeda seized, have included mustard gas, sarin, tabun, and VX, all of which would have qualified for the WMDs. So Al-Qaeda was the one that discovered them. The London Telegraph, not a conservative newspaper, is the one that is reporting that discovery. And it seems like the U.S. media has been absolutely silent about this since June 19th. Now, admittedly, that was all 4 days ago. I would have thought this would have been like a headliner that day. Maybe they're just waiting for the right time. I don't know. Anyway, thank you for your question and for the call. More to come. This is AFA Today on AFR Talk. I'm Kevin McCulley.